Guys, these headers work amazing. You're going to have to, of course, still modify the 3-link adapter or the way the flange goes onto the next exhaust piece. But these things are beauts. They fit in really good. I highly suggest you mount them before putting the engine in. I'm barely even going to show you how to do it before putting the engine in, because literally get these set of headers when you put the engine in, and then let the exhaust shop do the rest, unless you get the Jeep Speed Shop ones with the Jeep Speed Shop exhaust, or whichever other company you get your catback exhaust from. But take a look at these. Now, I got the ceramic coated ones because they were the only ones available in stock, and the other ones were like 6 weeks out, and I don't have patience, so I paid the extra money, got ceramic coated ones. Otherwise I would have gotten raw. But wow, these things, literally, I can slip this one in right in through here, right in through the fender well, and it fits in perfect. The other side, I have to drop the drive shaft, so to pull the drive shaft bolts, and I might have to raise, like hook this side of the engine with the crane and lift the engine a tiny bit, so that way I can sneak it in there, because it is super, super tight. I've also, yeah, you just got to be really careful of that and the steering linkage and stuff when you're going in. So like I said, whatever I have to disassemble when I put it in, I will tell you. Now, another cool thing, comes with new exhaust bolts and also comes with new gaskets with these headers when you're buying them. So keep that in mind when you're buying them. I've already got new gaskets, so I'll probably use those. I'll take a look and compare them. I might just use these ones. And then the other thing that it comes with, is, like I said, is new bolts, but I just bought ARP bolts, so I'm going to be using my ARP ones. Okay. Now that you got that beautiful header in, let's go do the other side. Now the other side is going to be a little bit more fun. Let's go over why. One, if you have your dipstick installed, you're going to want to remove it. Chances are you didn't get the top bolt in because it didn't fit within the Jeep, because getting it in on the Jeep, this dipstick just doesn't work. I ended up removing it earlier on, but if you didn't follow these steps, I'm going to show you how to remove it. Just careful not to break it. Be careful. You can see how deep it only goes in. So make sure you wiggle it a little bit and remove the dipstick itself before doing it. As you can see, we got this beauty here. Now, I did have to get my buddy to heat it and pound this down a little bit. Unfortunately, just had to happen. I did grind down the motor mount just a tiny bit, so that way I could get my clearance for this pipe, but he had to ovulate it so that way we have just a tiny bit more clearance so I can slide this header in. So I'm gonna go, and first part, after you have that dipstick removed, we have to slide our steering linkage back again. So before you pull this bolt out, tie up your steering wheel once more, just like we did before, so that way it can't turn side. I mean, it can turn side to side. You don't want a full revolution though. So basically, pop that out, lock up your steering wheel, slide this back out, and then we're gonna flip it up so we can get our header in there. Pull that bolt out. We're gonna put this off to the side. For now, I'll just put it right here, but I will put it somewhere safer. As I said, the steering wheel is tied off so I can monitor it, and then go ahead and wiggle and pull back. After you do that, flip this completely up, just like this. Perfect, just so it's standing up. Now that we have that, we can now, since we have our fender wells still out, bring our header down and up and in. Yes, it's gonna be tricky. Yes, it's gonna be fun, but if you navigate it right, that header does slip down and then turn up and in. We did have to modify that. Now again, I'm trying to show you the angle best I can. But if I were to lie this flat, you'll see it's on a bit of an edged angle, because this mounts sideways on the block like this. And we needed that clearance to clearance the motor mount. You can see the ceramic coating held up really well amongst the heat. And so from this point, once we have this, I'm gonna go grab my ARB hardware, but I'm gonna show you how this slips in. So, first things first, just getting it in my hand there. Okay, your fender well is out. Go ahead, slide this in here so it's nice and wedged in like that. Like I said, once you bring it all the way down to the drive shaft on this angle, now we're going to start to angle it in. Now it's going to be sort of hard for me to show you, but let's see. Just like this, see? And then slowly twist and turn it in. Take a look at that. It's sitting there nicely. Crank these all down to 18 foot-pounds, or well, the ones that I could reach. The ones that I couldn't, I'd put them as close to 18 foot-pounds as I could by guesstimating. And as you can see, right there, she's been hammered a little bit, so that way she can squish just in there. Like literally this header just fits in there. And as you can see, this one's good, but this doesn't matter anyway. We're welding on V-bands because I don't want any of these old flanges. So the V-bands are going to sit really, really nice, which you'll see during the making of the exhaust video. Right here, as you can see, we have the O2 sensor in. All I did is I lined it up, screwed it in a couple times, and afterwards it fit perfect. Just something to remember when you're putting these things in is you'll feel like you're spinning them forever. You're like, oh my gosh, what have I done? Did I strip it? Just continue, and it does. It locks up nicely. As you can see, this one is in there nice. I threw some red Loctite, zap strapped this wire far away from the header, and then from here, when we build off, it'll come down and through here, and that is going to be awesome. All right, let's throw in this new dipstick. Me and Mika were looking at this dipstick, and I knew that this had to have been broken. I found the O-ring in the tube, and I found this. I went through the tube, I cleaned it, and I can tell you this. I think somebody broke the dipstick tube before, and what ended up happening is they never went and found the piece. Maybe it came out in the oil pan, who knows? I changed the oil pan on this recently, so I know it's not in there. I couldn't tell you. It's crazy, but yeah, what you should have is a little metal piece here. You'll have a little O-ring and then another piece right here. If you don't have that, that other piece could be in the tube and it might have snapped right here. So make sure you clear that out. I feel like I'm obligated to tell you that even though I don't have that little piece there. Let's go put the new dipstick in. So the new dipstick arrived. It's from Milodon, whatever you want to call it, whatever dinosaur you like to say. That's their part number, and this is the one for the rear sump, or they're also saying it's for the mid sump, but I'm using it for a rear sump because the motor that I have in the Jeep is out of a Dodge Ram. So as you can see, when you first look at it, it's pretty sick. Like it's nice, strong, good quality, but they don't put any markers on here just in case your dipstick has a different readout than another one. All right, so when you're putting your new dipstick in, just push it all the way up between that second header there. Let's see if I can even show you right there. See how it goes one, this is the second, right in between number 1 and number 2. And then you bring it down, and if you find just the right angle, watch this, the whole thing slips inside. As you can see, I have the dipstick mounted right here. If you're taking a look right there, there's going to be the little prong that comes off the dipstick. It goes between the head of that screw and the metal gasket retainer for the valve cover. So you'll just unscrew it and then put it and squeeze it between the head of the screw and that valve cover piece. When you do that, now you're going to go back under your vehicle, and what you're actually going to do is on the dipstick, you'll see that it's not all the way in the tube, like how you seen just a second ago. I put the dipstick all the way in the tube. You might not be able to do that. Maybe there's corrosion buildup. You can try to clean it out if you want, but you don't really need to. I'll tell you why, because it's not going to go all the way in. The tube isn't long enough, and if you were actually to sink it all the way in, you won't be able to slide your dipstick in and out. It will be on too much of an angle. So what you'll end up doing is actually it'll come back out of the hole a little bit. I'll show you, and then you'll wrap tape around it, and I'll show you how to measure so you can mark your dipstick, because it doesn't come with markings. This is where the block would meet on the other one. So what you want to do is take your
where the block met on that silver dipstick, line it up right there. The line that you made on your dipstick tube and this. And then what you're going to do is slide your dipstick in to the other tube after you line these up, and with a dental file make a marking. I'm going to show you right here. For me, what I ended up doing is I found out that mine was right here, right where the O-ring was, is actually where the block level was. So that's why in this next portion, what you're going to see me do is I'm going to have this sideways, and I'm going to line up the tip of my dipstick with this right here, and this was pretty much the block because that's where it lined up for me at the O-ring.
Probably going to be hard to see, but see how I have two score marks? If I line these two up, lines up with those two dots. I went a little bit wider than the other two dots, but like I said, it's going to be hard. You can sort of see the silver there. It's easier to see when it's not on camera, I'll say that. And again, all I used was a couple dental files, and I marked up the stick where it should be. And I'll probably make the marks a little bit easier to see. I can see them on here. It's just, of course, a little bit harder on camera. And twist it a little bit around. Holy smokes, there we go. And then, voila. Make sure it goes in the hole. As you can see, we've got that dipstick around that valve cover bolt over there. Bam. Perfect. So, tighten that valve cover bolt back down to 105 inch-pounds. And again, it goes between the bolt head and the metal rubber retainer that's inside the valve cover that seals it up. So just don't try to shove it between the rubber and the metal. Again, O2 just fits in there, which is awesome. So if you're not running cats in yours, this should work perfectly fine. And then when we bring the exhaust down, again, V-band, these are going to get removed, and we'll have to, I think what we're going to end up doing is 3 inches down to a 3.5, or we're going to end up doing 2.5 here, 2.5 on the other side, bring it down, and a 3-inch exhaust all the way out the back. We'll see. It all depends on fitment because space on this Jeep is tight. So now that we have all that ready to go for the exhaust guy, this is where the manifold and the dipstick parts end. And from here, I'm still waiting for the ECU. Unfortunately, flagship one is just taking their sweet time. So once that ECU gets here, we'll be starting. I'm sorry again about the delay, but at least I got something for you. We got both the manifolds in, and we've got the new dipstick in. It's literally ready to go. Once that shows up, I'm gonna start it.